welcome to Cup of Tea, where we share tech tips with you to help you in your online, face-to-face, and high-flex class. Today, we are lucky enough to have ESL instructor Karen Hamilton with us. Welcome, Karen.
Hi, Monica. Hi, everybody.
And she is going to share with us a couple Google Doc activities. They're collaborative Google Doc activities that she's used with her advanced Vessel students in Zoom, and they can be adapted to any level. So we're looking forward to hearing about these great activities.
Thank you. All right, so the first activity I wanted to share is a partner interview activity that I usually do during the first week of class. So I've created this Google Doc ahead of time, and it has some interview questions, basic stuff, what's your name, where are you from, what career is interesting to you, and a couple others. We do a vocabulary practice activity with vocabulary from our book that we're using in the first week. That way they feel like they're learning something on the first day, but we're also getting to know each other. And then I create this table with a summary of their partner's responses. So I tell them to interview each other using these questions. I share my screen. We talk about the questions. We talk about this new vocabulary as different expressions for describing yourself. And I tell them to think about which one best describes them. And then I copy the link and put it into the chat. And students can go into a breakout room with a partner, ask them the questions, and then they type a summary of their partner's responses. And I usually model it before they go into the breakout room. So I'll pick a student, I'll ask them some questions and show them how I don't need to type in complete sentences when I'm typing their answers in the chart. Sometimes for this last one, I will have them type a complete sentence just to practice the vocabulary. So what that looks like is sharing the link, copying the link, putting it in the chat, and then making sure that they're able to open it. I always remind them that this is a shared document and that they're all going to be typing at the same time, so they can start seeing people's cursors in different lines. And I'll tell them, just scroll down. I make sure that there's lots of extra rows. And so I tell them if it's crowded and there's a lot of people typing at the top, to scroll down and maybe like choose this line for your partner. And then you end up with this really nice summary of who's in your class on the first day or the second day, where they're from, what kind of careers they're interested in for my vessel context, and some vocabulary practice. And it's fun. I sometimes will share this and ask them, show them all the different places that we're from and the careers that we're interested in. And usually before I do that, I'll ask them to introduce their partner to the whole group as just additional speaking practice.
That's great. It looks like a really good first day activity.
Yeah, it's fun, and it kind of gets them comfortable using Google Docs because I use them all the time. And so, supporting them, like if you don't know how to find the chat, to click this link, and being ready to support them with that. And, if they don't end up opening it on the first day, it's not the end of the world. Their partner likely did and can ask the questions. And so then if I notice that someone hasn't typed their information, I can follow up with them, or someone arrives late or something like that, we can always add them to the chart.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And you have another Google Doc activity?
Yeah, so in this one, I have taken a dialogue from our textbook. This is for the Vessel for Healthcare Careers class. And we were talking about, we had read an article about handling feedback. And so I took one of the dialogues and took a screenshot of it from the book, and then created this activity where they have to predict what the people would say next. And I coupled this with an activity about apologizing because this person is getting reprimanded for not doing something correctly. So it'd be a great opportunity for them to practice apologizing. I like to leave a place for them to type their names. and have them submit it or share it with me. And so what I tell them for this activity is to have one student in the group share their screen and type, but everyone else is sharing their ideas and giving input about the dialogue. And then I will have that student either share their screen in the whole class and they can talk about what they wrote, or just submit the document to me and I can kind of check for errors, and sometimes we'll talk about it in the next class. So for this one, this can be a forced copy Google Doc. So what that means is anyone on the internet can view is fine. They don't need to be an editor. I copy that link and then I'll just usually paste it in a new browser. Oops, I didn't mean to hit enter. Let me do that again. So I'll copy the link and then right here where it says edit, you change that to the word copy. And now they have a link that will force them to copy like that and just show them how to click make a copy. And now each group has their own version that they can edit and it won't interfere with the main document. And then they can send that to me when the group is finished. And sometimes I'll have them share in the main group and we can kind of talk through what they've written and go through errors and things like that. And other times, if there isn't time, I'll do that outside of class and then bring any comments back to the next class.
That's great. Thank you so much, Karen, for these examples. I
My
just want to
pleasure.
review. So the first example you gave us is one document for all students, and you share that as anyone can edit. Right?
Correct.
So everyone has edit capabilities.
Yes. So with
Okay.
this one, you have to make sure that it says anyone with the link, and then you come over here and instead of view, you make sure that it's edit. And that's the partner interview because they're all typing in the same document.
Great. And then a second example is each group will copy the document so that they're each typing on their own version of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for those great examples.
It's my pleasure.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.